Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Sean, and Christina and Marilyn, if you're on here, and everyone at the Van Dyke Mortgage team. I appreciate you guys. My name's Calvin. I'm the owner of Comfortable Closings, and what we are is we're a nationwide mobile notary service. And just so you guys can understand, our business model and what we do, because it's pretty niche. Essentially, what we do is, if a buyer or seller can't make it to the title company for whatever reason it may be, we send a notary out to close that deal. And we do that in all 50 states. So if it's like someone on vacation, or if it's like a good example would be like someone, maybe they're moving from California and they get to clear to close while they're in California, we would send a notary out to meet with that person in California to get the transaction closed. And then our notary would send the documents back to the title company. That's why I was saying, Sean, we could definitely help with that North Carolina deal that you were talking about there.
So you can help pretty much anywhere?
Yeah, we do it in all 50 states. So this could be Hawaii, Alaska, anywhere.
And then you'll basically locate the notary in that area. Okay.
Yeah, so we would locate the notary in that area. So, yep. So that's what we do. I'll give you guys the backstory on how we started the company, and how it grew. And my goal for today is for anyone on this call is to really just to inspire, educate, motivate, because I know we all need that in this crazy industry that we're in. But currently, right now, we're doing about 1,000 closings consistently every month. I have 9 team members, and those team members are people who actually manage the closings. So if we get a closing, like right now, I think someone just sent the closing over for North Carolina, or it was some area they sent it over for. I think it was DC, and they'll go ahead and locate a notary in that area, get them on there, make sure they got the paperwork, all of that good stuff. But yeah, so my first question for everyone is, has anyone on this call faced adversity? What was that?
That was a maybe.
Like we all, I know I have.
Yeah.
Every
If
day.
you're breathing, you have.
Every day.
We all face adversity. It could be a relationship. It could be, a dog. It could be your dog passing or anything. Adversity, life hits us. It could be losing a client, losing a deal that you thought was going to happen. Adversity we all face adversity, but I believe that adversity actually strengthens us and actually sharpens us to do, what we're eventually meant to do. And it's all a part of our testimony at the end. So, I'm just under the belief that we should all embrace adversity. But nonetheless, my story, so, how we started the company and, how this thing came to be was, I was born in Wellington, Florida. That's down in the Palm Beach area. And from the very beginning, it was just me and my mom. My father actually passed when I was 7 years old. He died. And that was my guy. Like we were literally like this. And the funny thing about the relationship between me and my father was that he was actually the softie. So like if I wanted something, I was going to go to my pops and ask him instead of asking my mom, because he would let me do whatever. So literally, I'd be like 5 years old. I want to go down to the lake with my boys at 5. I'm going to ask my dad because my dad's going to let me go. He couldn't say no to me. And I'm 5 years old. It's like, I don't got no business going to the lake at 5 years old. But nonetheless, that was my dude. And I've learned that like the entrepreneurial drive and the entrepreneurial spirit that I have today actually comes from him. When I was young, people would always ask me, they'd be like, Calvin, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'd be like, oh, I want to be a garbage man. Like I would literally tell people that. I'm like, oh, I want to be a garbage man. I thought it was so cool. You get to hang on the truck, you get to hop off the truck, go pick up the garbage, throw it in the truck, do all that stuff. I don't know if they still had that today, but back in the day, people would hang on the side of the truck and literally come off, grab the garbage, throw it in there. And I thought it was so cool.
Oh, so no. Now the guy's sitting there in the AC and he just presses a button to pick the trash up.
Yeah, they got AI machines nowadays, but back in the day, it was actual people. So it's good I didn't become a garbage man, because I would have got replaced by AI. But nonetheless, that's what I wanted to be. So my dad sits me down one day and he's like, He's like, Calvin, like, it's okay if you want to be a garbage man, but just make sure if you become a garbage man, you own the damn company. So when he said that, that like changed everything for me. I'm like, oh wow, like, yeah, you like, I need to own the company. So he ends up dying when I was 7. And from there, it's just me and my mom. And that was my first piece of adversity. So he passes, and then I start playing football at 8 or 9 years old. I start playing organized football. And I, like, soon as I touch the football, I fall in love with it. So literally from 8 to 22 years old, I had one dream, and that was to make it to the NFL. So start playing football, and football ends up leading me to Florida A&M University. So I end up going to Florida A&M University, where I actually end up majoring in football. I'll just play, but that's what I would tell people. That's what I would tell people because I was so obsessed with football. That was my thing. So I get to Florida A&M, but I have a problem. I'm there to play defensive end. So I'm 6'3", but I'm only 170 pounds. So those of you who know football, you know that's a little small to play defensive end. So I'm like, oh man, like I want to play, like I'm here, I want to play, but I got to get big. So I make a decision. I'm like, I'm gonna start lifting weights. I'm gonna, start eating right, doing all these things so I can put on some weight. And mind you, I'm 18 years old. I don't know anything about lifting weights. Don't know anything about, dieting or whatever, but I just do it anyways. So in the course of 4 years, I go from 6'3" to 6'5". I go from 170 pounds to 250 pounds. So I'm going into my senior season. I'm 6'5", I'm 250. I'm ready to go. I've spent 4 years like grinding, pushing, like trying to get my body together. So our first game of the season, we're playing Texas Southern. So Texas Southern, they come to Tallahassee to play us. And we come out the gates, we're killing them. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, we're up, we're killing them. I got a sack, tackle for loss, a deflection. If there's any ladies on the call, I'm just having a good game. You might not understand what I'm talking about, but I'm having a good game. So the coaches are like, all right, well, let's take the starters out. So they take the starters out. And we go a couple series without the starters. And then my position coach comes to me. This is the fourth quarter now. He comes to me. He's like, yo, Darville, you want to go back in the game? I'm like, yeah, coach, of course I want to go back in the game. So I go back in the game, come off the ball, I line up, and then I come off the ball, and then I hit the quarterback. And then we line it up again. We line up one more time. I come off the ball, I get around the tackle, and then pop. I fall down, and I end up tearing my Achilles in half. So just like that, 4 years, really not 14 years of fighting for something, and it's over. Just like that. In my senior season, first game of the senior season, I end up tearing my Achilles in half. So I still end up graduating, but now I'm in this dark place because I've lost a dream, the thing that I fought for 14 years. So graduate, I'm in this dark place, and I'm working these like side jobs. Nothing special. I'm literally working this construction job, making $10 an hour. So one day on the construction job, our manager has us moving bricks back and forth in a wheelbarrow. So we're piling up this wheelbarrow full of bricks. We're moving them down the yard, dumping them, bringing the wheelbarrow back, piling up more. We're just doing this back and forth for hours. And we end up going on break. So I go on my phone, I'm on break, click on the YouTube button, not looking for anything in particular. And a video pops up, how to make money wholesaling real estate. So I'm like, oh, wow. So I end up watching this video, and this video ends up changing my life because I get introduced to a world that I literally had no clue about, knew nothing about real estate, nothing about mortgages, nothing about investing, like nothing. So I decide to start wholesaling real estate. So I do that for a year, and one day I'm out looking for property. I'm out looking for property to wholesale. And I put on a podcast, and this podcast comes on talking about the mobile closing industry and how you could be a mobile notary. You could do these closings, and you can scale the business from being an individual notary to where you contract all the work out to other notaries, and all of this. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I like this. So I end up purchasing a course because the guy on the podcast was selling a course. So I purchased the course, and at this time, I'm still in Tallahassee. So I'm still in Tallahassee at this time. Purchased the course, get certified, get my certificate, and then I moved to Tampa. So I leave Tallahassee and I moved to Tampa, and I'm like, okay, this is a perfect time to go all in on my business. Got my notary seal. I've taken the course. I'm educated. I kind of know the documents, but I have a problem. I don't got no business. So everyone on this call can relate to that. Whether you're new, seasoned, whatever. When you first get into the game, you don't have the business yet. You may have gotten, did everything to get your mortgage license or get your realtor's license or whatever it may be. But now you're at that point where like, okay, well, how do I actually get business? How do I close deals? Like, what do I have to do? And the answer to that question is you got to get uncomfortable. So I'm like, okay, well, now I got to start making calls, and our clients are title companies. I got to start making calls. I got to start, dropping in offices, going into networking events, and do all these things that I don't want to do at all, but I do them anyways. So the first month of being a notary, I do like 2 closings. Second month, I do like 20. Third month, I do like 40. And then fourth month, we go to like 80. Then eventually I get to where I'm doing 100 closings a month myself.
I was going to say, that's just you. That's hustling. That's hustling.
Hustling, ripping and running. 7 closing days, 8 closing days, 9 closing days. I put a printer in my car, a scanner in my car, so I can rip and run from closing to closing. And I'm doing whatever it takes. So eventually, I'm like, okay, well, I'm doing 100 closings a month consistent. I'm like, okay, I can start contracting work out to other notaries, and we are able to scale the business from where I was individually doing 100 to now where we consistently do over 1,000. And like I said, we have 9 team members here. And when I look back on the story, and that's why I opened this up with like, who has faced adversity? I think all the adversity that I face, really helped me, become the person that I needed to be. Like, losing my father at 7 years old, having a dream for 14 years and then losing that dream, even going to college and being 170 pounds, trying to play at a major college, play defensive end, but making a decision like, hey, I'm going to put on the weight, like all those things, and getting into this industry and not knowing anyone, moving to a new city. It's like all those things are adversity, and we all have those moments. Like everybody on this call, has adversity and things that they face, but we just have to face them and embrace them and understand that like this here is here for a greater purpose. In the moment is the hard part. The moment's like, oh man, like we all have emotions. We're human. Like I'm down, like I tear my Achilles, I break down, I cry. But, fast forward, 10 years, like, things have changed. And I can honestly say like those type of things, they really shape you. So I just want to share that story with you guys, because I know there may, even if you're new, if you're seasoned, whatever, we all have adversity that we face.
Now you're in better shape than anybody I know.
Yeah, I still work out. So some of my teammates, they'll be like, man, you still lift weights? I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to stop because I don't play anymore. Like I still want to be in shape.
Well, I like how you said those things helped you, because that isn't the case for everybody. When they face adversity, they can go in the opposite direction. So that's, nice when you're landing on your feet, so to speak, and you keep plugging away, you keep grinding away. Like as Jimmy Valvano says, like, you never give up.
Yeah, no, you can never give up. So what I want to do now is I want to go over an Alta closing statement with everyone on here. So I'm going to share my screen. So
and then explain like what's a perfect scenario client for you. Like,
well, our bread and butter is title companies.
Okay.
Yeah. So we work with the surety. So I watched some of the previous calls. You guys had Cassie on here. We work with Cassie very often.
Okay. And then, but like agents that are on the phone here or that are going to be listening online, do they just contact like you directly? Do you have like a work phone number they call you on? Do you have like a website that they like request you on? How do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, they can always call me. Is there somewhere I can put that?
Yeah.
And then Calvin, after the Alta breakdown, if you can go over like how to best like refer you business as well, like what that process kind of looks like, especially if like we're working with a specific title company, like how do we provide that introduction for you?
Okay. Yeah, we could definitely do that. So yeah, let me pull the Alta up. But yeah, just to piggyback off what Sean was saying about just, you gotta, like he said, it's a decision, so the thing with the adversity is like when we face it, you know, you just got to make that decision like, hey, I'm not going to give up, you know, because I had teammates that did, you know, and anybody who plays sports, you know, they know what I'm talking about, but it's an identity crisis that you face after being an athlete for an X amount of years. And then it's over, whether you make it professional or not. A lot of people struggle with losing that. You know, and you know, you kind of get lost. You know, some people start drinking or doing things that are negative. You know, so you just got to make that decision personally. Like, hey, I'm gonna take this energy that I put towards whatever it may be. You know, even if it's a relationship, like if you were like a great girlfriend or a great boyfriend, like I'm gonna take this energy from being a great girlfriend and being a great boyfriend. I'm gonna put it into me and build in my business and build in my life. So,
well, real estate and the real estate and mortgage world kind of is like a sport.
Oh yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. It's very competitive. It is very competitive, and you got to push, and you got to have grit, and it's a contact sport, baby.
Yeah,
you got to go. Yeah, but yeah. So right here, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So yeah. So this is an Alta closing statement. I'm sure everyone's familiar with this. So if you're doing a closing, you know, it could be a mobile closing, or even if you're closing at a title company, the title agent or the notary should definitely go over this document with your customer, so that they feel comfortable. So this is the document that's going to put them at ease. You know, so when I do a closing, this is the first. I'm either going to go over this or the closing disclosure. It's going to be this or that as the very first document that I go over with the customer, because once you show them that their fees are accurate, then they're pretty much comfortable signing whatever. And once you put them at ease, like, you know, the notary should put the customer at ease so that they feel confident that this person knows what they're talking about. And once you go over those fees with them, they do feel that way. So whatever notary is at the table for your closing should be providing that for your customer, because that makes you look good. Any realtor on the call, like if the notary goes over this line by line with your customer and they're like, hey, this is your HOA fee, this is your appraisal fee, this is your tax fee, this is what this means. And, you know, they give them that ease, because everyone's already anxious going into the closing. You know, they give them that ease. It really makes you look good. So this is why it's important to understand who is doing my closing. You know,
so how do you vet a notary that you're going to sign in Alaska or Nebraska or Hawaii or, you know, North Carolina? How do you vet them?
We can vet them because we can actually see, we have a platform that allows us to see the amount of experience that they've done. So I can literally see every single closing that they've done, the total amount. We can see their certifications. So like I said, I took a training course to get into this industry. I like to see that same certification that I took because I know it's a good course. So we can see those things. And we've been in business since 2019. So we have a lot of relationships with these notaries that we've been able to establish. But yeah, it's super important. So I'll go through this with you guys, because I know sometimes at closings that you may get that notary. If it's not our company, you know, our company, we're going to give you a good notary. But if it's someone else, they may give you a notary who may not be able to do this, and then you may have to step in and answer these questions. So I just want to go by this line by line with you all. So if I'm sitting with a seller, or it could be the buyer, either or, because as you can see, they got both sides right here. But if I'm sitting with the seller, I'm going to present the document to the seller. I'm going to be like, hey, Mr. Seller, have you seen this Alta yet? And they're going to tell me yes or no. I'll be like, okay, perfect. If they say yes, I've seen it, I'm still going to ask them, hey, do you want to go through this line by line? And they're going to tell me yes or no. If they say no, then I would just probably go down to here, the third page, and show them what they're receiving back. Well, I'll be like, well, I do want to make sure what you're getting back, Mr. Seller, is the accurate amount. You know, and they're going to tell me if that's accurate or not. But if they do want to go through it line by line, it's very simple. So the Alta typically structured like this, where it has seller side and then the buyer side over here. If it's there, and then everything up here is just going to be information about the transaction. So you can see the buyer's name, seller's name, property address, all that good stuff. And then if I'm sitting with the seller, you know, I'm going to say, hey, Mr. Seller, so everything on the debit side is your expenses. So these are going to be all your charges for the transaction. And everything on the credit side is going to be everything that you're receiving from this transaction here. So I'm like, right here, you have your sale price of the property, as you can see. So it looks like you're selling your property for $320,000. And then right here are your prorations. So this is super important. They would definitely want to see this. And we'll go through the buyer side as well. But the seller is definitely going to want to see this because these prorations are typically for HOA fees. So right here, they have a proration for HOA. So it looks like they have a couple HOA charges. So I'm going to say, hey, Mr. Seller, it looks like you're receiving a credit for your HOA from February 14th to April 1st. So February 14th is their closing date. So this is closing today. And then they're receiving a credit up until April 1st. So a lot of times if the notary's sitting with the seller, and these are things that will literally hold up the transaction. Like the seller will not sign the document if it's not properly explained. So the seller may be like, oh, I already paid my HOA. Okay, Mr. Seller, well, you're getting a credit right here for your HOA. So you want whoever's doing the closing needs to be able to show them like, this is the credit that you're receiving for whatever you may have paid. So you show them, oh, so it looks like you're receiving a credit for $292.36, $364.42, and be able to show them those credits right here. And then right here, they have a credit. This is a tax fee, so they're receiving a credit for that as well.
And that's like where the CDD would be if it's in Florida and certain communities that have the CDD. So that's something like we as loan officers will prep the buyer. Hey, by the way, there's a $3,600 CDD in there. Like depending on what time of year, the buyer may be bringing in an extra $2-3 grand. And like I got burned with this right when I first moved to Florida. The day of closing, CD goes out, and the people are bringing $2,400 more into closing. They were closing the beginning of October than what I told them because the seller paid the CDD in advance. So like on that tax, I was like, so
you'll see all of these prorations right here. Whatever needs to be prorated. And then right here's another super important one that you definitely want them to see. And like I said, we'll go over the buyer side as well. But so right here is a charge for county taxes to the seller. So the seller is paying county taxes from January 1st to February 14th because obviously taxes are paid yearly. So they're just going to pay for the portion of the time that they own the property. So if the notary doesn't properly explain this to the seller, they're going to be like, oh, here's your county tax charge. And the seller may be like, oh, well, I'm selling the property. Why am I paying taxes? So the notary or the title company should be able to be like, oh, well, Mr. Seller or Mrs. Seller, you're only paying for taxes from January 1st until February 14th, as you can see right here. So this is a prorated charge. And then you would just continue to go throughout it. So if I come down to the second page, and everything's sectioned off. So you got your loan charges there and then other loan charges. So they got a cyber protection fee to closing lock. So this is just a software fee. They may want to know what that is. Like, oh, well, this is just a software. So you just get a software fee that you got to pay for. And then right here, you got your title charges. So all of these are the charges that go to the title company. Everything's sectioned off. So it's very easy to read. So they got a closing fee to the title company who handled this settlement, $395 right there. They got a wire and courier fee right there. And then you just keep going down. And then they got the commissions, obviously, to the agents right there. So you would show them that. And then down here, we got the governmental fees. So these are going to be doc stamps. So this is a question that they're going to want. They will typically ask about. They'll be like, oh, well, why am I paying? What are these doc stamps for? Well, Mrs. Seller, this is just a governmental fee. And this is actually based off the sale price of the property. So the higher the sale price of the property, the higher this fee is going to be right here. And then right here, they got to pay off of their old mortgage. And then you just keep going down. They got their notary fee. Right here, they got a couple holdbacks. So this is for utilities. So they got a $350 holdback for utilities. They got another HOA fee here. They got an estoppel fee. This is a question that will always be asked about. What is an estoppel fee? Literally, like I'd say 7 times out of 10, they're going to ask what the estoppel is. And that's just to check the account balance of the HOA. And then right here, they got another estoppel fee. And then right here is going to be everything. So all you have to do is you'll add up all the expenses. You'll add up all the credits. So I add everything up. I take the credit minus the expenses, and this is what they're getting back. And then you'd be like, does this look like what you were expecting, Mr. Seller? And they'd be like, yep. And then boom, they just sign above their name. Very, very simple. And then for the buyer, so any questions on that one? Okay, perfect. We're all experts. There we go. Love it. All right. So for the buyer side, same thing. I would sit with the buyer, Mr. Barr. So the debits are going to be all your charges. Credits is everything you're receiving, and we would start at the top. Sale price of the property, $320. Looks like you're receiving a credit for your deposit because you put the deposit down at the beginning of the transaction. So that's going to be in the credit column. This is your loan amount right here. The buyer is going to have prorations as well. So the buyer's being charged for HOA fees from February 14th to April 1st right here, as you can see. And it's important that the notary explains this to the buyer because the buyer needs to know that they're going to be they're already paying for their HOA, because they may be under the impression that they may have to pay the HOA as soon as they close, or they may need to pay more. So if you let them know right now, like, looks like your HOA is being taken care of from February 14th to April 1st, then that'll put them at ease. Looks like they're being charged this tax fee from February 14th to September 30th right there. And then right here is super important to let them know. So they're receiving a credit for county taxes right here. So this is from January 1st to February 14th. They're going to be receiving a credit because obviously they didn't own the property then. So they're buying the property on February 14th. The seller owned the property before then. So the seller is charged for that. And then the buyer receives that credit because they didn't own the property then. And then right here we come down. And I just want to emphasize on, like, I've literally seen closings get held up because of this stuff, like it not being properly explained or them not understanding this. So super important that, whoever's doing the closing, they explain that right there accurately to the, to the customer. Loan charges. So right here, they got some points that they're paying. So they're paying some points. Then they got application fees, appraisal fee. This is important to note because there's no charge right here. So it looks like the buyer paid this appraisal fee before the closing, but it's still obviously a closing cost. So they put it as a line item. But if this isn't showed accurately to the customer, then they may be like, oh, I already paid my appraisal fee. Why is that listed here? Well, sir, it looks like you paid it outside of the closing. Credit report fee, flood certification fee. Right here, we have prepaid interest. So this is going to be from February 14th to March 1st. They're prepaying their interest. Then they got cyber protection fee. So this is another software fee. And then right here for the impounds, this is super important that whoever's doing the closing explains this accurately to the customer, because this definitely can hold up a closing. So this is going to be for their escrow account. So it looks like they're setting up an escrow account for their taxes and their insurance, and they're collecting 3 months in advance. So at closing, they're going to go ahead and build a cushion in. So this is closing today, February 14th. So they're collecting 3 months in advance. So by the time of next year, when the customer pays every single month, so they're going to pay every single month into the escrow account, obviously. And by the time of next year, they'll already have those funds ready to disperse to pay for the homeowner's insurance for the following year after. So that's super important that whoever does the closing explains this accurately so that the customer feels, good about signing the documents. Same thing with property taxes right here. So it looks like they're collecting 6 months in advance for the property taxes. So at closing, they're going to go ahead and they're building in the cushion at closing so that when the property tax bill comes out in November, they already have a cushion in here for that, just in case the taxes are a little bit higher or whatever it may be. And that should be told to the customer at closing, like, hey, this is, they're going to build it. They're going to put a little cushion in the escrow account just in case the taxes are higher than they think it may be, so that they can pay that. And then this is just an aggregate adjustment. So this is a credit to the customer. And then right here, we have all the title charges from the title company. So we got endorsement fees right here, Florida Form 9 to the title company. This is going to be the title insurance. So this is the title insurance policy. A lot of times the customer is going to want to know, what is that for? What does that cover? That's literally just, I like to break it down. Hey, you got car insurance for your car. You got hazard insurance for the home, for the structure of the property. And then you got title insurance for the title of the property. This is insurance for the title, just in case there's any claims. And they're gonna, a lot of times they'll have a question about what that fee is for. And the lender's title, this covers the lender. And then this is an abstract fee to the title company, another closing fee right here, wire and courier fee. And then right here is the owner's title policy. So this protects the owner's interest for the title right there. Then they got a storage fee. And then we come down here. So this is a brokerage fee to the broker. And then we got some more governmental fees. So these are just going to be recording fees to record the mortgage. You got doc stamps for the mortgage. Once again, these are fees that they can't control. So, the notary should let them know, or the title company should let them know, hey, you can't really control these fees. These are all governmental fees. And then miscellaneous fees. So they got their homeowner's insurance fee. So this is an annual fee. And the thing, a lot of times at the closing, the customer will want to know, well, what's the difference from this fee and the escrow fee? The escrow fee is for next year. So this is going to pay for 12 months now. So this closes today. So this will take care of the entire year up until next year. And the escrow is for next year. So this takes care of this year. And then everything that they're putting in escrow is so that they can pay for the following year. So a lot of times they'll have a question about that, and it's important to to let them know. Lien search fee here. This is another notary fee, survey fee to the survey company, and right here, capital contribution fee right here to the HOA. And then so it'll be the same thing. So you take all the charges, you add all the charges up here. So that'll be the total of all the charges. And then you take everything they're receiving, all the credits, the loan amount, the deposit, all the credits that they're receiving. You take the charges, you minus the credits, and then you present that to the buyer. And this looks like what you need to wire, sir. Does this look accurate? And they say yes or no. If it's a yes, they're going to go ahead and sign. Simple as that. Any questions on that?
The one agent had a question. She was saying, what course do you look for a good notary?
You said, what course do I look for?
They were asked, what course do you look for to make sure it's a good notary?
Well, loan signing system is going to be the best course. It's loan signing system. That's the one I took, and that'll be the best course.
And agents it's going to be easier for you to look up these credentials.
You wouldn't want to. Yeah, they wouldn't want to look that up. We have all that information, but
agents can just contact you, contact your company directly if they want to request you to be the notary, correct? They don't have to go through the title company. But then making sure to relay that to the title company, that they're using you.
Yeah, it would be as simple as the agent should know that their closing is going to be, it's called a mobile closing or a mail away. The agent should know that their closing is going to be a mobile or mail away closing. If you know that, then you just tell the title company, hey, I have a notary company that I want to use.
Yeah, that's something that important, obviously, to check up front. Hey, listen, are you going to be in town on the day of closing? Is your husband going to be in town on the day of closing?
Yeah. So you definitely want to check that up front. And I mean, we've had situations where agents will call us at the last minute and be like, this closing's a mail away. The title company doesn't. Some title companies don't even have notary companies. So they'll be like, oh, the title company doesn't have a notary company. Like we don't have, there's nothing we could do. So I'm like, oh, no, we got you. We'll just send a notary out. Just connect me with it. Literally, all we need is a connection with the title company, because they're going to provide us with the package, the closing documents, all of that stuff, and then we'll get a notary out. We do same day transactions all the time. So it's a very simple process.
I never knew that you could actually tell your title company that you have a notary person that you want them to use. I thought it was always they made that choice.
No, if you have someone, I mean, you're bringing them business.
Right. Oh, that's great to know. Thank you.
Yeah,
and then they could refer, most of these agents on the call here, or that'll be listening online, they have title companies that they work with already. So they can basically introduce your company to their title company. That's a good referral for you, correct?
That's a great referral. So if you have a relationship with a title company and you want to make that introduction, we'd absolutely love that.
Awesome. I will text you my contact over so you have that, Calvin, and I will get your information. Like my mother-in-law is a business development manager at a title company in Lakeland. I'll hook you up with her since you can help out like anywhere in the country. So
Yeah, let us know about that deal in North Carolina, man.
yeah, sounds good.
I have another question. I have a friend who wants to become a notary. Should she connect? Can she connect with you all to be one of your notaries, or she should
Mhm.
just go to, that's fine, or go to a title company?
Oh no, she could definitely connect with us. I wouldn't go to the title company first, but yeah, if she wants to connect with us, we do monthly notary meetups where we educate our notaries on like literally stuff like this. So we'll walk them through an alta and teach them how to go through it line by line with the customer. Um, teach them how to get business and all of this, all these different things. So yeah, if you want to, I think Gabriella put the information in there. If you want to give me a call or shoot me an email, connecting me with your friend, I'll definitely help her out.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, his info's in the chat. So if anybody wants to pull it from there, or if you just you can just text me or text one of the loan officers, whoever you work with, and they can share his contact card with you. I got you saved in my phone now, Calvin. So I'll forward this out to some that title agents that I know for you too.
Okay, cool. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it. Thanks
Yeah,
for
no,
coming down to the Alta.
yeah, no problem. No, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the time. For anyone on the call, I would just say, go ahead and face. If you got any adversity that you're facing, go ahead and see it through. Make a decision that you're going to get through it, push through it, fight through it, and a couple months down the road, or a couple years down the road, however long it takes, one day you'll be able to look up and be like, you're thankful that you went through that and you fought through it.